But now that we have this Canada Strong Pass, it's a really great opportunity for us to go and visit some of the national parks.
Take nothing but pictures, kill nothing but time.
I need to see a lodgepole pine in nature because it's like our treat.
Oh, another one. I'm looking at it right now. Sticky geranium.
And one of the things that I love doing is going on hikes and checking out what grows naturally in Alberta.
Couldn't you have called it like creeping stability flower?
So the other day, Colin, Brad was looking at our lawn. We just finally got to it. It's just not looking healthy. You know, there's a lot of dry spots. We dog sat over the winter.
Okay.
So sunny spots, shady spots are all looking a little dead. What can we do to just give it a boost?
Okay. I recommend a 3-prong approach. Okay. So what you want to do is we have a new product in and it's Scott's Soil Builder.
Wow.
Okay. It's amazing. This product has got humic acid, biochar, and leaf compost. Scott's built this so well. So the humic acid is going to boost water and nutrient retention. The leaf compost, microbial activity, we've talked about that. And biochar, we know we love that.
We love biochar.
Yeah, soil compaction.
Okay.
Okay. Once that is down, you're going to go with Scott's Quick and Thick Lawn Seed.
Okay.
I love this one. You said that the dog went everywhere, sun and shade. This is a sun and shade product.
Perfect.
Okay, so Scott's Quick and Thick, great lawn seed. Get that down. And you're going to follow it up. Step 3 on our 3-prong approach is Scott's Turf Builder. All 3 products put down with a Scott spreader. Your lawn will be up and running in no time, and Brad will have a big smile on his face.
That's so easy. Thanks, Colin. Find Scott's Lawn Products at your local home and garden retailer. Welcome back to the Helpful Gardeners podcast. Well, in Canada this week, we got some really big news that the Canada Strong Pass is starting on, what is it, today?
I think it's this weekend. Yeah.
Oh, no, it started on Friday.
Started on Friday, okay.
It started on Friday, and it goes all the way through until September 2nd, so right through summer.
I'm surprised. I got to say, I'm surprised that they didn't launch it on the Canada Day weekend.
Yeah. I mean, you know what, though? Like, it gives us, I'm not going to complain, first day of summer.
So, there you go. That's what it is.
So that's probably what it was, first day of summer.
Sooner the better, but first day of summer ties in nicely.
Yes. And if you haven't heard about this, essentially it's like free or discounted admission to some of the country's most iconic places.
Yep.
So, for example, free admission to Parks Canada. So for us in Alberta, that's like Banff, Jasper. There's discounted overnight stays.
And let's be honest, Banff, Jasper, yo-ho.
Yeah, that's right. And what's great too is I have Brad's sister is coming in from Vancouver right at the end of June. And they're offering free or reduced admission at museums and galleries.
Yes.
So they want to go see the dinosaur park in Drumheller. They're going to get a discounted rate for that. But why is this important for gardeners? Because I thought about going to Parks Canada and say normally it's really tough to get out there, right? There's a lot of really cool hikes. G7 is over. So a lot of the day use areas are going to be opening up. I imagine there's going to be a lot more folks heading out and enjoying more of our natural spaces.
Yep.
And one of the things that I love doing is going on hikes and checking out what grows naturally in Alberta. And I was actually thinking about this the other day because I was hanging out with your wife, Jenny. And we were talking about how you guys go on hikes, and what she loves when she goes on hikes with you is you can point out things and know exactly what name it is, how they grow. like you're like, oh yeah, that's that. Like it's the same as when I watch a movie with Brad and there's a car in it and he's like, oh, that car is actually accurate for that time.
Yeah.
If you live in Alberta, if not, it's inspirational to look into what you might find naturally growing in your local parks or, regional parks. Yep. But what can grow in Alberta if you were to step outside? And we're going to cover like grasses, trees, shrubs, flowers, everything. Do you want to just start with some trees? I feel like that's going to be the first thing you'll notice.
Yeah. I mean, you cannot talk trees. You cannot talk Banff, the Rocky Mountains in general, without giving a huge shout out to the larch.
Yes, I love larches.
Yeah.
Larch season, for anyone who doesn't know, larch season is like one of my favorite seasons. I have never properly seen a larch season though. I tried last year, didn't realize the road is closed during larch season because it's so busy and for rightly so.
You pull into some parking lots at larch season. You can't pull into the parking lot. You got to park a kilometer back on the side of the road.
A kilometer? I had to park 10 kilometers, and by the time we got to the base
That was the hike.
Yeah, I was like, I am tired.
Yeah.
And now we have to walk back. And they didn't even have transportation. We had to walk back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, larch season is great. But larches are one of the coolest trees that you'll see in Alberta because it's like I love saying it, it's like a deciduous coniferous.
Yeah.
It's like the best of both worlds.
Great hike if nobody's done it. St. Agnes, this is right up your alley, the St. Agnes Tea House.
Oh, I've heard about it.
Yeah, and you park at Lake Louise
Yeah.
and you go, so if you're looking at Lake Louise, you go to the right and then you follow the path up and you stop at Mirror Lake and that's beautiful. And then you go up to the top and there's this little Alpen tea house and they do like coffee cake and apple strudel and whatnot. And you get to sit and you can see straight down and you can look at Lake Louise and all of its turquoise beauty and all of the aspens are changing and then there's the ground squirrels and chipmunks and everything running around all over the place. It is
love that. Are there larches on that trail?
Oh yeah.
Lots of larches. Okay, so that's somewhere where you can see larches. Definitely want to do some research, I think, before you go out and see larches. Obviously, larches, like the best time to see them are going to be like September, October.
Yeah.
Really want to like watch the forecast for when they change because it'll go really quick. But larches for sure. You'd mentioned the trembling aspen.
Yep.
White bark leaves, beautiful, especially in the fall as well. The lodgepole pine. Have you seen that one out in nature?
That's lodgepole pine as well. Not only was it amazing for building the log cabins and whatnot because they're so straight and strong, it's also an extremely popular firewood.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, it's an extremely popular firewood for that reason. One thing I think gets overlooked in Alberta, speaking of trees, I mean, okay, we're talking trees and shrubs. Cursory shout out, and then we're just going to move on. Wild rose, yay, we love you.
Of course,
yeah,
yes.
Next, the willow.
Oh, I didn't know about the willow.
Oh.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, one more thing.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Lodgepole pine is the tree of Alberta.
Is it really?
It's the official tree of Alberta. Yeah.
Oh, that I did not know.
I learned that at the fish hatchery. I don't know why, but for some reason I did. Anyway.
Just one of those weird vignette things they have that you just
And for some reason it stuck with me. And I was like, I need to see a lodgepole pine in nature because it's like our tree.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. The willow.
Yeah. Don't hold me to this number, but I want to say there's 6 or 7 native species of willow to Alberta. There's Bebb's willow, yellow willow, basket willow.
Yeah.
And they are incredible. The basket willow was used, the natives made a lot of baskets and a lot of weaving with it. The yellow willow forms a nice tight structure, gets nice and tall, but there's an area in Fish Creek, Bebo Grove.
I've heard of it, yeah.
So Bebo Grove is beautiful, and if you walk down and you're on the main path, and when you cut off into the forest, there's an area, and it's almost like being in a bamboo forest. It's an entire grove of just perfectly straight willow, and oh my God, I don't know, 15 feet tall, but some of them are like, it might be an exaggeration, but it's like the size of my pinky.
Yeah.
You walk through them and they're just bending where you walk. And it's so beautiful. And I find that the willow often gets overlooked because when people think willow, they think that, idyllic English weeping willow. And,
yes.
And then we see these tall willowy twigs and we're like, get out of here. Be a weeping willow or get out.
No, that's cool though. So that's something that you can also see out in nature.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, depending on where you go, so if you go down to Bebo Grove, you might see a couple of larch, but you're going to see more willow. You go to Banff or Jasper, you're going to see way more larch and spruce and aspen, probably not going to see a lot of willow. So the one thing about Alberta, and a lot of places, but I think especially Alberta, in an hour and a half, 2-hour drive, you can be sitting in the middle of a desert, surrounded by cactus.
Yeah.
And then you can be literally at a glacial lake surrounded by spruce and larch.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah. But it always amazes me when I'm talking to people about cactus and they go, what do you mean cactus grows here? And I'm like, how do you... I'm not even Albertan. Like, I'm a total transplant. And but that's great. If you don't know, you don't know. And now you know.
Hey, I didn't know until I was an adult.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of getting out and exploring. And that's why I love that this is happening, because it's kind of like the barrier for entry is gone. Now, transportation obviously is a thing, but you can get out and explore a little bit, right? And actually, one thing that shouldn't surprise Albertans is the amount of grass that we have here.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally just talked about sweetgrass. The Plains rough fescue is also a dominant native grass in the grasslands that you can see. I know for me personally, like, it's really easy to go out in nature and see a flower like a tiger lily and be like, oh wow, I can distinctly see that that's a tiger lily. My friend, she was in university here in Calgary, and she took a plant class and she did an entire unit on grasses, and she could go on a hike and tell you the different kinds of grasses. I'm like, how do you do that?
Somebody who blows me away every time is Nathan.
Yeah.
From Ecologic.
Yeah.
And when we were doing the native plant section here, and they sent me some images.
Yeah.
And then, so we built the website, and then I sent them the preview, be like, check my work. You guys know more about it than me.
Yeah.
But Nathan was like, looks amazing. One thing, your needle and thread grass, the image you have is actually Foothills rough fescue grass. You may need to get another image. And I was like, oh yeah, well, of course, who doesn't know that? Ha ha.
It's true though. Like, it's really hard to tell apart the grasses. And I almost feel like, when you look at your garden and you sort of unlock the potential when you start looking up, I feel like it's the same sentiment when you're on a hike. Look down and really like take and appreciate even the grass that is growing in that area. I mean, what is it that we always say? Grass built the prairies.
100%.
Right? They're incredible. And if you catch it at certain times of the year, you might even see them get to a point where they're starting to like seed.
Yeah.
Or is this still technically blooming?
Yeah.
It's blooming.
Not even. I've seen flowers on grass.
Wow.
Yeah. Somewhere buried in my phone, I've got pictures of it. 1/4 centimeter, like tiny, but these tiny little flowers.
Yeah.
The number one pollinator of grass is wind.
Yeah.
Because the wind sweeps. I mean, tell me that's not a perfect Alberta shot. I think everybody's seen that where you're standing, even on Nose Hill, and you see the grass as like waves.
Yes, it's beautiful.
But I know some grasses, being able to identify exactly what grass is what grass in the wild, that is not my forte.
No.
They too many of them look alike. Like, one I can kind of get as bit of a cheat, as long as it's in bloom, is June grass, because it's the one that blooms the earliest. It's so important to the native.
Is that where the name comes from?
Yep.
Blooms in June?
Yep. And it's so important to the pollinators because it's an early food source and blah blah blah.
Wow.
So ones like that I can kind of get on, and there's certain ones that I'm like, oh, I think that's it. But others, I just don't know.
No.
I look at them and I go, I love something like needle and thread, tickle grass, June grass, blue grama.
Yeah.
Rad names. I don't know who named them, but kudos to you.
Yeah, and that's something that you can definitely see. I've definitely done hikes close to Calgary near Bright Creek, and you can see a lot of grassland around Bright Creek. So if you're interested in learning more about grass, go check that out. But there's also a lot of flowers, and obviously this is going to be more of the common things that you'll see. So let's do like flowers and shrubs together, just because you kind of mentioned earlier the wild rose, which is the iconic one, of course, for Alberta. But you can also find things like Saskatoon berry. There's a lot of Saskatoon berry farms in southern Alberta. They grow so well.
They're so good.
They're so good.
So good.
And you can see them kind of growing out wild west of the city if you were to go kind of more into the foothills. The fireweed.
Yep.
So what is the deal with fireweed? Fireweed is named that because it is one of the first things that show up after a fire?
Yes. I always hate it when they put weed on the end of a plant.
I know. What is up with that?
Yeah.
We could call it the actual name, Chimerian angustifolium.
It's like, and chimera is like, Greek mythology and fire and whatnot.
Oh.
But we give creeping bellflower this beautiful name, and then we're like, that's fireweed. You're like, oh, is it a horrible weed that starts fires? You're like, no, actually, it's increasingly important for soil stability after a fire. You're like, what couldn't you have called it like creeping stability flower? And maybe call bellflower noxious purple weed.
They don't want you to not like it.
Yeah.
They're like...
And the names strike me as funny because there are some grasses like that too. There are, certain plants that have evolved to be able to come in, because we talked about this, a few weeks ago, whenever it was, about fires.
Yes.
And how naturally they are important part of, cleaning and fertilizing and adding amendments to the soil, and things come up.
Of course.
But not everything can grow there. You need the other plants to come in and start stabilizing and leaching out nutrients, and then other plants can come in. And yeah, that's where ones like fireweed come in.
You know what's one of my favorite things, though, is working in a garden center and going out in nature and seeing a plant that I've seen in the garden center. For example, the blanket flower.
Yep.
I have seen the blanket flower out in nature while on a hike, and I was like, oh my gosh.
They're blooming right now on Nose Hill.
See, I love that.
Yep.
I love that you can be like, oh, I've seen this thing, and now I've seen it out in nature, and it's almost like validation knowing that it grows that well here.
Well, another one I think gets chronically overlooked here in Alberta, and I thought of it when you were talking about the Saskatoon berry, is the wild strawberry.
Oh, yeah, good point. I
love
rarely
the wild strawberry.
see it, but you're right.
So again, I do a lot of walking on Nose Hill.
Yes.
There's a fair amount of it on Nose Hill. The thing is, with Saskatoon berry and wild strawberries, especially in an urban area like this, good luck getting to them before the animals.
Oh, good point, hey?
Yeah, good luck, because they come out, and it's not a food source for us, okay? That is a vital food source for the animals.
Yes.
They're not hybridized. The strawberries that we get, and they're big, and they're fat, and they're plump and juicy.
Yes.
They're not the same, but they're still, I don't know, I think I find them more special because you find it and you're like, oh, I'm going to eat this.
Oh yeah, like it's like finding a 4-leaf clover, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, but like there's one of my favorite ones I usually find around Canmore is the wood lily.
The wood lily.
Sometimes I'll actually find it, and it's so hard not to miss. Like they're bright red and they stick out, and they're kind of just like a lone wolf out in the grass.
Yep.
I love the wood lily.
One that I really love, and they're kind of finished now. I think I've seen a couple of weeks ago, a while ago. Time blends in the spring and the summer.
Right.
The cornflower, the blue flower. Have you seen that one?
Cornflower.
And you see.
I have to Google that one.
You see banks of it, and it's a small 5-petal blue flower. Very.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the rarities about it. I think the reason it stands out is because it's a true blue.
Oh.
A lot of times when we call something blue, it's purple or it's lilac. It's not blue.
We've had that problem.
Yeah. I'm never letting that go.
Yeah.
But that one is blue.
Yeah, there's not a lot of blue flowers either.
Yeah.
Like I know there's kind of like a lobelia, but again, it's sort of like a really pale purple, and it's just really hard to find a true blue, like a deep blue.
Yeah, we get people every year who come in and they're like, I'm looking for something blue.
Yes.
And they want blue, and we go find them. But yeah, it's more often than not you're in different spectrums, but that one is a blue flower.
Yeah. Has there been any other ones that are sort of like really easy ones to find that, if you were to go on a hike?
The viola.
Oh, okay. Little bitties.
Yeah, the small ones.
Yeah.
So there's a lot happening out there. I mean, this is just another one. I'm looking at it right now. Sticky geranium.
Okay.
Yeah, sticky geranium. And I went out and on one pathway, I think the entire walk Jimmy and I did, it was about 5K.
Yep.
And on the walk from the beginning, like the trailhead, and it was a loop, it was Nose Hill, and it was a loop, and we came back, I saw 9 different flowers.
Cool, okay.
Yeah, 9 different things flowering, and that includes some shrubs and whatnot. And I was like, some of it, because I do often walk with my head down, and I look for the bees or the spiders or the grasshoppers, and I'm always trying to keep an eye out for something. It made me so happy to see that amount of diversity. And interspersed there, of course, was so many different grasses.
Yes.
And I was like, this is just a total mood changer for what you're seeing.
Exactly. I feel like this is going to be a really important year. I mean, we can go to Nose Hill any time of the year, right? But now that we have this Canada Strong Pass, it's really great opportunity for us to go and visit some of the national parks, like Banff, like Jasper, that kind of thing. Wherever you are listening from in your neck of the woods around Canada, make sure to look into some of those more national parks and go out and explore and see some of the cool native plants, and not only flowers, but also the trees, but also the grass. Like look up, down, all around.
And as well, don't sell yourself short either, because you had a great point that we go out and you can't miss the trees.
Yeah.
Right? They're right there. And then the flowers, a lot of them are punching you in the face with their vivid and their color. But one that I find gets massively overlooked is the aquatic plants. The bulrushes, the reeds. Like when we went to Montreal, so swapping coasts here, we went to this little village on the western tip of the island called St. Anne de Bellevue. And we went down to the locks. It's part of the canal system leading to Ottawa, because you can sail a boat from Montreal to Ottawa.
Okay.
Okay, and there's a lock system. It's actually a national park, I believe, the lock system. And one of the little bays there was filled with lily pads, and they were all in bloom.
Nice.
And Jenny was just like, "Oh my God, that is so cool to see!" And there were frogs and there were ducks swimming amongst it.
And they were like natural, or they were put there?
No, they, as far as I know, they were natural.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because if you're in a national park, you cannot pick a flower. Technically, it is illegal to pick up a stick and take it from a national park.
Yeah.
So when I worked at a farm in Quebec, and it was a naturalized farm, blah, blah, blah. And we had to put up signs everywhere, do not pick the flowers, because we'd see it and they got really hurt because they weren't able, to propagate through seed. And people would go and they would pick the wild garlic and the trillium flowers. And these plants were dying faster than they could reproduce from the amount of people picking the flowers.
Good point.
So, it's that whole thing, take nothing but pictures, kill nothing but time kind of thing, leave nothing but footprints. End of story. Go out and enjoy it, but don't disrupt it.
That's actually a really good sentiment to end on, because you're totally right. We have now the freedom to go out and explore more, but also to be respectful.
Yep.
So I love what you said, taking pictures and just like appreciating it for what it is. And it kind of keeps it special, right?
Yep.
So, you won't see it again until you come back. And that is an invitation to come back. So that does wrap us up on the Helpful Gardeners podcast this week. If you are listening over on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, we love you. Thank you for being here. We are also on Instagram at the Helpful Gardeners Pod, so go check us out over there. And as always, we'd love to hear from you. Leave us a voice note. You can do so on our website, goldenacre.ca/podcast, and we can play it on the show, whether it's a comment, maybe it's a question for Colin, like how many shirts do you own? I don't know. It can be whatever you want.
Oh, that was going to be a gardening question.
It's like, what did you have for dinner? We'll totally answer that on the podcast. Maybe a bonus episode, but we'll get there. And we, of course, will see you for more garden fun on next week's episode. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Hey everybody, Colin here with the Helpful Gardeners podcast, talking about the Yard Smart program with the City of Calgary. An amazing initiative they came up with, partnered with the Calgary Horticultural Society, and they've provided a ton of resources. In my hand, I'm holding Yard Smart catalogs. There's Yard Smart Basics, Native Wildflowers, one we're really passionate about, trees and shrubs. We have perennials, and there's so much more. Designing your yard for sun, shade, all kinds of resources. This is such a fantastic initiative about water-wise gardening and helping you get a perfectly beautiful garden in a Calgary environment. So much information. Visit calgary.ca/yardsmart or the Calgary Horticultural Society, or go to your local independent garden centre and get some literature. It'll be well worth it.